Good day everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the genetically modified organisms, science, health and politics. So before we start the discussion, let me read first the intended learning outcomes. So at the end of the lesson, the students shall have the competence to identify issues on genetically modified organisms or GMOs, discuss the different implications and impact of GMOs, and create a research paper on the impact of GMOs in the Philippines. So what is genetically modified organisms or GMO? So GMO is short for genetically modified organism, is a plant, animal, or microbe in which one or more changes have been made to the genome, typically using high-tech genetic engineering in an attempt to alter the characteristics of an organism. So, it is the organisms that have had their DNA altered through genetic engineering. This allows scientists to introduce the new traits or characteristics that do not naturally occur in the species. So the modification process involves inserting genes from other organisms into the target organism's genome. This technology can enhance the desired traits such as increased resistance to pests or improve nutritional content. So GMOs are used in various fields, including the agriculture, medicine, and scientific research to create crops that are more resistant to diseases, have higher yields, or contain additional nutrients. So one of the examples is the BT corn. So BT corn or Bacillus thuringiensis corn that has been genetically modified to produce a toxin that helps that repels insect pests, reducing the need for chemical pesticides. So one of the examples of GMOs or the product of GMOs is the BT corn. So it is engineered to produce the BT toxin, which protects against insect pests. So next is the golden rice. So the golden rice that has been engineered to produce beta-carotene, a precursor of vitamin A, to address vitamin A deficiencies in some populations. So golden rice, it is enriched with beta-carotene to combat vitamin A deficiency in developing countries. So last example is that we have Roundup Ready soybeans. So soybeans that are resistant to the herbicide glyphosate, allowing farmers to control the weeds without harming the crop. So, the Roundup Ready soybeans, it is modified to tolerate glyphosate herbicide, while making weed control easier for farmers. So these examples demonstrate how GMOs can provide practical solutions to agricultural challenges, enhance food security, and improve nutritional outcomes. So to discuss the pros and cons of genetically modified organism, here is Ms. Jelemy Radin.
Good day everyone, I am Jelemy Radin. For the continuation of our topic, I am going to discuss the pros or advantages of genetically modified organisms. First, the attractiveness. GMO crops can be engineered to improve their visual appeal, making them more attractive to the consumers. Examples of these include apples and potatoes that are less likely to bruise or turn brown. Some believe that GMO foods may have an enhanced flavor compared to non-GMO foods. However, there is no evidence to show that genetic modification has any effect on the taste, smell, or appearance of foods in the US. In fact, most people cannot tell the difference between GMO and non-GMO foods. Next is the resilience and less waste. Most GMO crops in the US were developed to help farmers. In order to help prevent crop and food loss, they tend to be more resilient. Now, here are some reasons farmers choose to grow GMO crops include higher tolerance to herbicides. This makes it easier to control weeds. Second, greater resistance to certain plant viruses. This helps increase food security by reducing food waste and greater resistance to damaging insects. This reduces the need for pesticides. And other pros of GMOs is the nutritional value. Certain types of GMOs may add nutritional value to foods. A good example of this is golden rice, in which this product is engineered to provide higher levels of vitamin A to consumers. And for the cons of GMOs, Miss Marlene Montilla will discuss it to you.
Today, I am Marlene Montoya and I am going to discuss the 5 cons or disadvantages of genetically modified organisms. First is the allergic reaction or sensitivities to substances called allergens that come into contact with the skin, nose, eyes, respiratory tract, and gastrointestinal tract. Second, cancer. It refers to any one of a large number of diseases characterized by the development of abnormal cells that divide uncontrollably and have the ability to infiltrate and destroy normal body tissue. And third, antibacterial resistance. It occurs when bacteria evolve to evade the effect of antibiotics through multiple different mechanisms. Fourth, changes in human DNA. Genetic mutations or changes to your DNA sequence that happen during cell division when your cells make copies of themselves. And lastly is the toxicity for body organs. The liver and kidney are particularly susceptible to organ toxicity as they are the sites of toxin filtration and toxin metabolic breakdown. Those are the cons of genetically modified organisms. Thank you.
Good day, my name is Adrian Orbok and I will be discussing about the implications and impact of GMOs. There are actually a lot of implications of GMOs, and one of these is the environmental effects. So, GMOs can lead to the growth of weeds that are hard to kill by weed killers and harm animals and plants that are not the target. So, for example, farming of GMO crops that resist weed killers has caused superweed to grow, which are tough to control using regular methods. So these possess a big problem for keeping farms healthy. So next is the socioeconomic factors. So impacts of using GMOs can affect how much money farmers make. So their ability to get new technology and how much they rely on a big seed companies, raising concerns about fairness and long-term planning. So for example, farmers in poorer countries who rely on GMO seeds from big companies may struggle to afford seeds for the next planting season. So it affects their income and making them dependent on these companies for seeds.
And the third implication and impact of GMO is the global food security. Proponents argue that GMOs can play a role in addressing food security challenges by increasing crop yields and resilience to climate change, while critics raise concerns about the long-term sustainability and biodiversity. Example, using genetically modified maize in areas with food shortages can boost crop yields in the short term, but the lasting effects on soil health and diversity of crops question the sustainability of these methods for securing food for generations to come. This example highlights the complex issue of using genetically modified maize in regions facing food shortages. While genetically modified maize can indeed boost crop yields in the short term, there are concerns about the long-term sustainability of this approach due to its potential impacts on soil health and crop diversity. While genetically modified maize can provide short-term benefits in boosting crop yields and addressing immediate food shortages, the lasting effects on soil health, crop diversity, and overall sustainability raised concerns about the long-term viability of this approach for securing food for the future generations. It underscores the importance of considering a holistic and sustainable approach to food production that balances short-term gains with long-term environmental and agricultural sustainability. In conclusion, implication and impact of GMOs are complex and interconnected, encompassing scientific advancement, health consideration, and political debates and broader societal implications. Balancing the benefits and breadth of GMO technology requires a nuanced understanding of its multifaceted implication across domains.
Potential future of GMOs. Proponent of GMO 1973, biochemists Herbert Boyer and Stanley Cohen developed genetic engineering by inserting DNA from one bacteria to another. Research indicates that GM crop technology can result in a net increase in herbicide use and can foster the growth of herbicide resistance in weeds. In addition, there is concern that the use of GM crops may negatively impact the agriculture ecosystem, so its potential risk health to humans include the possibility of exposure to new allergens in genetically modified foods, as well as the transfer of antibiotic resistant in genes to gut flora. It also increased the research and improved safety go hand in hand. Proponents of the use of GMOs believe that with the adequate research of these organisms can be safely commercialized. There are many experimental variations for expression and control of engineered genes that can be applied to minimize potential risks. So according to him, GMOs benefit mankind when used for purposes such as increasing the availability and quality of food and medical care and contributing to a cleaner environment. If it is used wisely, of course, they could result in an improved economy without doing more harm than good, and they could also make the most of their potential to alleviate the hunger and disease worldwide. However, the full potential of GMOs cannot be realized without due diligence and true attention to the risk associated with each new GMO on a case-by-case basis. Potential GMO applications. Many industries stand to benefit from additional GMO research. For instance, a number of microorganisms are being considered as future clean fuel producers and biodegraders. So, in addition, genetically modified plants may someday be used to produce recombinant vaccines.
GMOs or genetically modified organisms have both positive and negative impact in the Philippines. On positive side, GMOs crops like insect resistance Bt corns and pest resistance Bt eggplant have helped increase yields, reduce pesticides used, and improve livelihood for some farmers. However, remain regarding potential environmental risks, biodiversity loss, and long-term health effect of consuming GMOs.
And that's all for the lesson of genetically modified organisms, science, health, and politics. I hope you learned something about the the purpose or the um, adding the impacts or the negative effects, the pros and cons of the GMOs and its implications and its potential impact future. So how it contributed in terms of to our social economic, to our health and to the society. Thank you.